mean, I'll periodically wear the headphones, but welcome everybody here with Sparrow Wren and Frank Murray, and the topic of this series of episodes is the release of their collaboration album. Is that how you want to say it?
Yes.
You both
Yeah.
collaborated
That's
on
fair.
this,
We did.
Yeah.
called Feather and Fur. And basically, it's going to be a series kind of discussing the origin stories and the process of recording each of the 9 tracks.
Yes,
Nine
we
of
do
them.
have
Right.
9 new songs right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just dive right into it. The first song on the list is Parasitic Love. And whoever wants to jump in first can kind of start. If you want to start with
I'll
how
let you
this,
start.
who came up with the first hook, or was it a chord progression, or
Well, actually, I would say the first hook was Frank. So it was
Yeah.
when we started working together in April. I think it was around April.
Late
of,
March,
late March?
early April.
Yeah, of 2023. We sat down together, and Frank had a line that was, if I knew then what I know now, we'd all be better off somehow.
I like that.
Where did that come from?
It's how everything comes. Either I'm, at the gym, or I'm sleeping and I wake up and it's like, where'd this come from? And I'll go try to find something.
I was going to say, do
record.
you keep a notepad on the nightstand?
I have everything you can imagine. So, and then I'll have to, sneak out in the living room or in my studio and get it down. But these things pop, lyric ideas, little melodies, they pop up.
So say
Suddenly.
say that line again. What was the first line?
If I knew then what I know now, we'd all be better off somehow.
And that somehow leads into the song becoming Parasitic Love.
Well, yeah. So the
But there's a story, obviously. There's a story, obviously.
What
Right.
was a love story is
yeah, we have a pattern, and I blame myself for this, but we do have a pattern of it all starts out sunshine and roses, and then it goes to
Just all goes to
Alanis
hell.
Morissette, right? So that does seem to be my trajectory. So Frank brought that very lovely line, and every day I jot down in the morning, my thoughts, and sort of turn it into poetry. And my thoughts for that day had been about dating this person, and that it felt like a parasite attached to me that was just sucking the blood out of my life. And
It's funny how some relationships can do that to you.
right. I actually think, of course it's funny, right? But I think it's relatable, right? I think if you really think about it, a lot of us are in those types of relationships that perhaps take more than they give. And it seems like it's those people that do take more than they give that insist or remind you quite often of how much they give to you, right?
Oh, you mean they make a point of pointing it out? Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
everything
Right,
that
right.
they
It's
do.
almost a way to justify what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, don't look at what I'm doing. Listen to what I'm saying. And yeah. So I was in one of those, and that's where the lyrics came.
So that first line was kind of the starting point. And then did you bring that line to her and said, "Hey, what can we do with this?" Or how far did you develop it before you brought it to her?
it was just in my little pool of lines. I've got mountains of that
Right.
stuff, and I don't know. We were just kind of brainstorming, and then she just kind of took the ball and ran with it, and all of a sudden it became what it was. And
How long was the process from one of you grabbing that line and saying, "Hey, we have something here"? How long did it take to actually finish, verse, chorus, bridge?
She's pretty fast, I have to say. You just, oh, hold on a second. Here, how about
15-minute writing break. You leave the room with a notepad.
that? 15 second.
Well, kind of. Like I try to be authentic. So, literally the whole parasite concept was something I'd been ruminating on before we got together that day.
Okay.
And then when we sat down, I think we had the whole thing sort of lined out by the time we were done with that first day. We had something, we changed and adjusted some words, but we sort of had the outline.
Yeah.
And at this point, are we just working on lyrics, or did you already have like a chord progression to go with it?
That's his magic.
Okay.
Yeah, again, those things just pop in and out of my head, and grab
I
a
hate people
guitar.
like you. Why are you so naturally talented?
Yeah, that's called smoke and mirrors. But
And he's humble, of course.
so I just kind of started banging out some chords and morphing it a little bit and trying some melodies and
At the same time as she's working on lyrics.
yeah. We're
on
just
chords.
seeing what works, and then from there we both have the same little Tascam Model 12 recorder.
Okay.
So we used hers and got it set up, but I was able to use mine at home too. And,
Okay.
And we just started doing one track at a time. Just getting our vocal and our guitar part down.
So that is a good point. We should make sure and at some point mention it maybe in every episode of this. You guys did all the instruments, correct?
No.
Okay.
No, we did on the first song. So the first song we wrote, we did everything at sort of a home recording studio.
Parasitic.
Well, we actually did all the instruments and did pre-recorded demos
On
and then
Parasitic Love.
on all the songs.
in the
Okay.
in the demos, but not the final version.
Yeah,
Okay.
The final versions, we've got a list of studio
right.
guys, but we created the parts.
I guess that's what I meant when you were once you made the demo that had every instrument that's going to be on the song.
Yeah.
You guys did all that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's talent. I mean, I know you play guitar. You were doing some of the other ones too, or was that Frank?
Frank was all of the other instruments. I did vocals, some guitar, and then some backup vocals.
And Frank's doing backup vocals too?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we both did vocals, and then we had Nolan Johnson helping us in the beginning, kind of our little home studio engineer, and so we could actually focus on doing our parts. And
Okay.
then once we got basics down, I had a little drum machine, we call it Beat Buddy Bob.
Yep.
And we use that as a reference, kind of better than a click track.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like real drums.
Because
and
it'll actually have a bass and a snare and a tom-tom on it and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and it was a rough idea, and then I would load that into GarageBand on my iPad,
Okay.
and then just try different things out, a little bit at a time. And GarageBand on an iPad is very cumbersome. And
It's easier on an actual laptop, I'm assuming?
yeah, and once I started, I opened up a can of worms because I loaded all this stuff into GarageBand. And once you get started in GarageBand, it doesn't transfer over to other platforms very well.
Really?
You can, but you have to do it like one track at a time.
You can't just make a completed song in GarageBand and then...
You could
and
do
then-
that in Logic or any of those and export stems, as they call it. But
Okay.
GarageBand's not quite so easy.
Oh. okay.
once anyway, it is what it is, and we were able to work with it. And
So what's the time frame kind of from the inception of that first line to where you guys finally, you thought you had the finished product?
So,
well,
go ahead.
we had a working demo probably within a couple weeks of that one.
Yeah, I mean, what we planned, because initially when we started working together, we thought we would test drive it, and we only had a limited number of weeks before Frank's other job kicked in, and he started traveling a lot with Petty Fever, and so we knew we had, what was it, like 12 weeks or something?
Yeah, I think it was like mid-May to late May. Wasn't that our kind of...
Because I think it was like 12 or 13 weeks altogether before.
Yeah.
And so
And-
what we decided was, we would task ourselves with working together 3 times a week.
And that was in your basement studio here?
Yes,
Okay.
different places around the office, depending on what occupancy was and depending on what the noise level tolerance was for the other folks in the building.
And also, this just popped in. I want you to finish your story. Different rooms, different spaces are going to give you different acoustics. Did that
Yes.
ever play into where you wanted to record a certain instrument or a vocal?
Yeah,
I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I'm
Yeah.
interested in this part. So
I wasn't thinking well, at first I thought maybe we could get a pretty good demo out of it, but as I dug deeper into working with the iPad, I would realize my limitations as a recording engineer. So, but we got it to where something that was presentable to other musicians, so they could, along with our track notes and everything,
Yeah.
so they could we could go in the studio and have other people that actually play bass,
right.
drums, and keyboards
Okay.
play the parts, and
So it was about 2 weeks, and where you kind of had the completed what it ended up becoming.
Well, so we knew that we had limited amounts of time, and so we gave ourselves a schedule where we would write for a week and then record for a week. And
Okay.
so initially the plan was that we would write a song and get it dialed in that first week, and then we would record that song and get it dialed in the second week.
Okay.
But what we found was, the recording part of it was such a moving target. Like, the writing part was always pretty organic and not painful, but the recording part, because of the limitations of home studios and my gear didn't play nice with his gear.
Okay.
My iPad wouldn't communicate in GarageBand with his iPad. All kinds of fun little things. It was a moving target. So we started out actually recording across. Well, we tried recording here. We tried recording across the street at Nolan's place.
yeah.
And ultimately, what would you call that booth that you built? It was like a drape. And
Pipe and drape from my old trade show days.
Like PVC piping with drapes hanging off
Yeah,
of it, kind
yeah.
of thing.
Essentially, you go to a trade show and the little booths with the curtains.
Oh, yeah.
And I worked for a company, Phoenix Gold and Carver audio manufacturer.
Okay.
And when we went out of business, I inherited a lot of stuff.
Nice. It's kind of a severance package.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have inherited, and I didn't have space for. But I didn't want to see it just get tossed. And so
Right.
I gave it a
might
good
come in
home.
handy. It
Yeah.
might come in handy down the road.
Pipe and drape is great. You can use it for all kinds of stuff.
Which-
Parties,
Yeah.
that is some of the magic of working with Frank. Is honestly, it's like whatever it is we need, he has an idea for how to MacGyver it, and he's got the pieces. Like it's like magic.
That's awesome.
It's kind of a sickness too.
No, it's an acquired skill, an acquired
Yeah,
talent.
that's it. Right.
So this song, "Parasitic Love," it was sounds like a short process, 2 weeks. But did it? Did the I don't know if you want to call it the tempo or did it start out as like a faster, upbeat song and become a slower, darker song, or was it pretty much what it was from start to finish?
It started off as a little slower tempo,
Mm-hmm.
and we bumped it up
Okay.
a little bit just to give it a little more.
A little groove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it turned into a duet,
Okay.
which was cool, and that just kind of happened organically too. And I think that's been the case with all of our music. It's like it's not like we start out saying, "Okay, let's write this one for you," or "Let's write this one for me." It's like every song sort of just tells us whether it's a duet or it's something for Frank.
You
or
let
it's
the
something
song
for me.
decide.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
been super
it
fun.
seems to work out pretty good. So.
Yeah, and it's pretty balanced overall on the album. Like,
Nice.
in terms of who's doing leads and who's doing backups.
Oh, so I guess this is something it didn't occur to me. So you both take turns doing lead.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That's all. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. So some of my questions are going to come across as ignorant. So you should have gave me a demo.
Yeah, well, we forgot to tell you, it's a variation of polka music.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were kidding, but I can't read you yet. I don't know you that well.
What? Would you call it deep Irish polka?
Yeah. Yeah, we play accordions with it.
Oh my gosh! And is there a didgeridoo or didgeridoo in there?
Oh yeah,
Several.
instead of the bass.
No, we actually don't. We have rough mixes so far on 4 of the songs. We have a final version that's already on platforms on one of the songs, and we're still waiting for rough mixes on 4.
Yeah.
Okay, but this song, like you said, is actually a duet, so there's equal parts both, I'm assuming. Do you take a verse, then both sing in the chorus, then you take the next verse and both sing in the chorus, kind of a thing?
Real close to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the bridge is maybe a back and forth? Calling out to each other?
Actually, the bridge, I think you're doing the bridge on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, we finished the bridge together.
With the harmony.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, and like most of the songs, I would say, Frank has such a strong guitar voice that, in my mind, like
My voice sounds like a guitar.
That's not what
your
she
guitar,
said.
Your guitar
Cool.
sounds like a
All
voice.
those years of imitating a guitar in the car, it paid off.
Oh, I've said
Here,
this
you
before.
want to hear my wah-wah?
I do want to hear your wah wah, the next song for sure. But yeah, I've said over and over. I think that guitar is your first language. In my mind, like that's you can speak through your guitar in such a strong way that I really think of that as another lead in all of the songs too, with your guitar solos.
And I didn't, are some of the instruments you have in the background, were these used on the recording?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we
No.
used that one for Runaway.
No.
We have our first debate.
I did the solo on that one.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's a mahogany T5. You use my Koa acoustic.
Are you sure?
Yep, you've not touched that one yet. I don't think
thought
you've
I
met.
played
I don't
the
think you've
Taylor.
met this one yet. I have 2 Taylors.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
2?
right. Yeah, this
Oh.
one is a
That's the one I
5-position
can't
electric to
touch.
acoustic. Yeah.
Okay.
No, you can touch that one too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch
Actually,
it right
every
now.
time you touch my guitars, they don't want to come home with me though. They want to stay with you.
Funny
That's
how
the
that
only problem.
funny how that works.
All right.
And after all this time working with her, you haven't learned that Sparrow is always right.
Oh, I know that.
Oh,
Newsflash.
you broke my heart. But that is not true. I am often wrong, and that's something that I embrace. But in this case, no, that's not a guitar that you've met.
Huh.
But I look forward to you meeting it. Actually,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Canadian, and it has a little bit of an accent.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is the other one a thin body like that too?
No, the other one is more of like it has a sound hole, and it's more of a standard acoustic.
It must be the same color as the one he used.
It's
Is
Koa,
that-
so it's not quite as dark.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
But you're gonna love that one. I think I want to use that one when we actually present the songs at Music Millennium and Blue Diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's get that out.
All right.
Where is the album release? Has it been decided where you're going to do the album release party?
Yes.
Okay. And are you ready to announce it or not yet?
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, the pre-release is at Music Millennium on February 13th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
and which is really cool. They a lot of bands do their CD releases, their album releases, whatever they're
Right.
releasing,
Yeah.
and they play up in the balcony, the crow's nest. It's kind of cool.
That
You
is
know,
very
it's
cool.
very old school.
So 6 p.m. And the 13th is a Saturday. February
No, it's
13th?
a
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, it's a Tuesday. Okay,
Yeah.
so Valentine's Day is on a Wednesday. I got to make sure I put that in my calendar. Okay.
Right, and full disclaimer, like it's kind of ironic that we're releasing songs on Valentine's Day because they are solidly not love songs.
Well, every
we-
Valentine's Day, there's going to be at least half the population that probably wants to wallow in some misery.
Yeah,
so
we-
it'll be relatable to them.
We got something for everybody, I think.
And then, did you guys actually set up a website for the album, or is it just social media?
We have a website for Feather and Fur.
So is it
So that's
featherandfur.com or
Feather and Fur Music.
.com? And then the and is spelled out?
Yes.
Feather-
Yeah, 'cause you can't put an and in a
Oh,
URL.
I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah,
So
or
feather and
ampersand, I guess is what it technically is called. And we added music to everything because Feather and Fur is very popular in the Wild Kingdom.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we wanted to make sure people
Yeah.
realize, we're real people.
featherandfurmusic.com, and
Yeah.
then you're on Facebook and Instagram.
Instagram and TikTok, all
Okay.
the mainstream social media, and a YouTube channel as well.
So people can just type in on any of those platforms, Feather and Fur Music, and they should be able to find your page.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ideally.
Yes.
Stuff doesn't always work, but
Yeah.
all
Yeah, that's the plan.
right.
Anything else you want to talk about this song specifically?
Well, I just want to point out how few songs there are about parasites on the market, and
Yeah, I think we'll
you know,
corner the market on
yeah.
that one.
I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I really think that Frank and I have come up with something that really represents parasites in a way that is both realistic and lovable.
Yeah.
So I'm quite proud of that. I think that it's the most important random song since Muskrat Love.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll have to listen to it.
You
the
have
merch,
not heard Muskrat Love?
Who did it? Who recorded
Oh,
it?
that's the 70s right there.
Yeah.
I may have heard it, and I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
So I'll play it after we're done,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
might
you'll
recognize
have
it.
to.
It's about Muskrat Sally and
But,
Muskrat
yeah.
Sam. It's lovely. It really is a love song.
Instead of
story.
Mustang Sally, it's Muskrat Sally.
Muskrat Sally.
Yeah, the
yes.
merch possibilities are endless on parasites.
That's
so.
true, and muskrats. But,
Yeah.
but that's maybe the next album, muskrats. I'm quite excited about muskrats, actually.
So another a way to maybe use a synonym for it. If I'm understanding it right, parasitic love is kind of about. I don't want to use too harsh a word, but it's in the lexicon in the last few years. Everybody's talking about toxic relationships. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Sort of. It's again, I think very relatable that in every relationship, ideally you want to have a certain balance, but rarely do you meet that balance, right? Usually in a relationship, there's somebody that's sort of giving maybe a little more than they take, or in the dating world, which is new to me, and so
And it's so fun, isn't it?
yeah, my eyes are pretty wide open, right, at this point, right? Yeah, puppy in traffic comes to mind, but
Deer in the headlights, whatever.
yeah, right.
Squirrel.
Yeah, right. So I mean, there are people out there that pretty much want to, perhaps either attach to your life and just absorb you, or absorb themselves into your life, or want you just to serve them and get absorbed into their life. And so that balance between being with somebody and not getting too enmeshed in somebody is something I'm super interested in, because it's a tough balance to maintain, I think.
And I would think, not for the newer, dating whatever months, a year, but long-term relationships, if it's successful, it's probably going to have an ebb and a flow where for a few years, maybe the one partner is the one that's giving a little more. And then I would assume over a 20, 30-year relationship, a natural evolution, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be times where one partner is giving more than the other, and hopefully it's reciprocated throughout time. But then if you're talking about newer relationships, yeah, that dynamic, if it shows itself real soon, it can be, difficult to navigate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's well said, right?
Yeah.
So, definitely in a long-term situation, ideally you pick up the slack for each other, right?
Yeah.
But you have a history with each other too. So you both sort of built a life together where
Yeah.
you're coming to things, from the ground up, and you haven't built a life together. It seems like a big red flag.
And there can be long-term relationships where it's always one-sided over 20 or 30 years. Obviously, one person,
Perhaps.
oh, there is. It goes both ways. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
cover all the bases. So,
Yeah. It's to me, it's an interesting topic.
you could do a deep dive on this. You
and
could
then-
probably
yeah.
write 10 more songs about this.
Well, that's what's been lovely, right?
Yeah.
Is that, I'm not really, it's not like I'm saying, oh, what am I going to write about? Like, the lyrics, I know Frank says they come fast. And the reason for that is, like, legitimately, these are the things that I muse on, 'cause I don't keep TV on in my house generally. And so, when I'm like rattling around in my own brain, these are the things I'm thinking about.
Oh my gosh, the depths and if you could, Elon's coming with that brain chip eventually, but at some point, if we can put chips in any woman's brain and then project it onto a TV screen, I feel so much for females because as I've gotten older, especially with the help of therapy, the chaos going on in the female mind, and it's not their fault. It's just the way the female brain is wired, but they worry about so much. There's so much stress. I am so glad I'm not a woman.
Wow. Well, okay. There's a lot to unpack there. Number one,
Maybe
I
we're
would
getting
say,
off topic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just want to say, like, whoever's hurt you, I'm sorry.
No,
And-
it's not
and
that.
then I also want to say,
I'm trying to empathize with what
Well-
the female mind of how much they worry and put on themselves.
See,
and-
I guess I could say the same about guys, right? Because the guys have such a tendency, and it's a lovely tendency to like tie a cape on and go save everybody and solve
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
But it's not true for all guys, right? And I
Right.
think the same's true for women. I think we all have our own, our own brain, and I don't even know like how differently we're hardwired. Actually, I think it comes down to, good mental health and being
Oh, of
able
course.
to. I think as a human experience happens, that the biggest thing that we're all afraid of, right, is our own emotions. And again, these are just my musings, right? It's been lovely, like not having TV on and actually thinking about my own thoughts for the
Yeah.
last 3 years now.
Yeah.
But I think it really comes down to good mental health. That if you are not afraid to look at your own fears and your own failings and your own terrors, the ways that you failed yourself, the way you failed other people, I think that you can get to a point where you can enjoy people because you enjoy people and you aren't needing somebody else in your
Yes.
life. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed about working with Frank is the way he approaches life, right? He approaches life with a sense of wide-eyed wonder. I like to think that I do as well. And stepping into the world not needing to get something from somebody else, but honestly just wanting to enjoy and exchange a little bit of life with that person. And it makes the writing process with him really wonderful.
That's awesome. I think that's a great way to wrap up this first one. Wow. We're going to make you cry, Frank.
I don't think
it
Frank
just
cries.
comes from hanging around squirrels.
Yes, the squirrel. Frank is having trouble with squirrels at his house, I believe, is what that was about.
Oh no.
Or
no,
is it-
They're no trouble.
No.
But you have a lot of squirrels.
He loves squirrels.
Yeah,
It's an easy distraction.
I'm one with the squirrels.
That is true. That is true. That was our first working name, was Bird and Squirrel.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, we will pause here or stop here. There's much more to come, so make sure you guys check out the website and all social media, featherandfurmusic.com, Feather and Fur Music on all the social media platforms. There's a lot more to come, guys, so make sure you keep searching for these.